business owner wants to see their business grow. We're kind of addicted in our brains to seeing any kind of progress at any chance that we get. But do you know that your business is always compounding and growing, even when you don't realize it? We're gonna break down how that works in this video because you might be doing better than you think. The most challenging part of any business, and especially a new one, is that any result that you are getting is the sum total of a bunch of mini skills that you have racked up over time. And your revenue becomes dependent on the weakest link, aka the weakest sub-skill within that repertoire. I'll talk about an example from my own life to bring this down to earth a bit. When I first started, my biggest problem wasn't in the actual skill itself, aka video editing, because this is a video editing business, but it was in the idea of knowing how to market, brand, and communicate my own value to potential prospects and show them that I can do the job well and efficiently. The knowledge in knowing what things mattered and what things did not is what held me back. And that meant that I could only charge so much at the start, even though most of the time it wasn't that I had some bottleneck when it came to the actual technical skills in knowing how to edit a particular piece or section. It was that I just didn't have the sales and marketing skills to be able to lay out the value proposition for them to pay a decent price. And as that improved more and more through knowing what to say, how to say it, where to put my efforts properly, that meant that I could continually increase the average ticket price for whatever I was selling in a very, very significant level. I'm probably charging somewhere around 5 times more than I did 2 years ago, and that still continues to be the bottleneck, which I am currently improving as time goes on to be able to go even higher. Well, that's until I hit something else, which is kind of the name of the game. But how that relates to you is that you've probably been working on your business for months, maybe a year by now or even more, but you still haven't come over the first hurdle of being able to charge some price for whatever you're offering. And so in your eyes, you think you're not making progress, although I can almost definitely guarantee that you are. It's just not showing in a dollar amount, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. The only way you can stagnate in your business if you do just one thing, keep doing the same things over and over without any changes in quality, volume, or newness, different other stuff. More realistically, if you just keep doing the same thing, then eventually your client list will just go down to 0 because of churn. Because I had that happen a couple times by now. That means you're not amping up whatever acquisition channels that you're using to acquire your clients, whether that's making content, posting videos, cold outreach, cold DMs, cold calls, whatever it is that you are doing, so that you get more eyes on your stuff. Or you're not improving the quality of whatever you're putting out so that more of the eyes that do see your stuff don't end up converting in a larger number and percentage of people. But to improve in any skill or endeavor, in my own experience, there are only really 2 ways to do it. Either you look at the people at the very top level of that game and you copy whatever they do, or even better, you copy whatever they do when they were at your level, but you just turn it up to 11. Or number 2, gather every bit of possible feedback from whatever you are doing right now and implement as many of them as possible while keeping what works and what doesn't, and then just iterating on that a gazillion times. All businesses can be split down roughly into 3 components: marketing, sales, and fulfillment. Marketing is getting as many eyes as possible to see whatever you are creating or putting out. Sales is converting as many of those eyes as possible into actual paying clients. And fulfillment is the actual delivering of that service or product to the best quality and level of professionalism that you can. What makes business so obscure is that you can be at the top levels in 1 or 2 of those things, but if you don't know how to do the third, then you're not gonna get a cent out of whatever you're doing right now, and your revenue will always climb to the level of the weakest skill between all of those 3. That will always be your limiter, and that's what happened to me in my story, and as right now as I continue to improve it. So if you're not making any money right now, then you're gonna have to look at those 3 components and see what you're missing. So you look at the feedback and the numbers that you have in your possession right now and see where stuff is breaking. Are there just not enough eyes seeing whatever you're putting out? And that is kind of a fairly obvious point. So if no one knows about whatever you're selling, then no one is gonna sell it. It's a fairly self-evident point. But I think the second point is a little bit more helpful and may not be as self-evident to people when they come across it, is that the general idea of selling those eyes that you do get on whatever you're making and turning them into actual paying customers, as we said earlier. Because I'm starting to understand it a lot more at this current stage. When it comes to one-on-one style type of marketing and sales, i.e. cold emails, cold DMs, cold calls, voice memos, looms, whatever you're using, then it's gonna be fairly straightforward because you're tailoring all of your effort on one particular person. Assuming that you're following the best personalized outreach guide on YouTube, then you're gonna have the best chance possible, but the problem with it is that you trade off the quality with how many people you can reach out to in a day, because it just naturally takes more time and effort. But for things that are one-to-many, like posts, content, videos, tweets, whatever it is, then the best chance you're gonna have at it is to pick topics that spread well with the right messaging and have them be high quality. Because if you get the messaging wrong, then you're gonna attract the wrong people. They are not qualified and they're not interested. If the ideas are good and the messaging is correct, but the video is low quality, then you'll get them to see your stuff, but they won't stick around and they probably won't convert. So a low conversion rate. If those two earlier ones are checked off and the video is high quality, then you have a very good chance at converting whatever people that do see your stuff, because you get them hooked in and they will see you as someone that is reputable and knows what they're doing and what they're talking about. And that's been the general feedback that I've gotten with my experiments, but it will get clearer with time as I do more and more of them. So, just in a nutshell, if 1,000 people are seeing your offer, your whatever you're selling, but only one person converts, then that's a very good red flag to be on the lookout for. The third part, i.e. fulfillment-wise, is absurdly simple of a thing to say, but it seems to be very hard to execute on for most people. I think it's just because most people are so focused on the sales and the landing client part and actually getting the money that they don't focus on putting something out and delivering something that is useful to the person. So just as a few basic principles that we can solidly stand on. Make sure that whatever you are giving them is actually useful and will be valuable to them. Make sure that whatever pricing structure that you're following justifies the value of the thing that you are providing them. Be on time, be reliable, be communicative, don't keep them in the dark. Update them as often as you can while not teetering on the edge of annoyance. If you say you're going to do something, then you make sure you go and freaking do the thing. Be reliable. I know I said it twice because it's that important. Don't make them guess if you're going to do a good job or not. It shouldn't even cross their mind as a thought. And if you do that, I'm sure that you'll land your first sale in no time. Speaking of that, I'm going to link that best personalized outreach guide on YouTube video that I talked about here again. I have a newsletter with more business content like this, so give that a follow if you're interested. And with that, bye.